win it or lose it, you know, it's going to leave a big mark on the rest of your season.
Yep, it's so critical coming into this one in this Saturday showdown. The Trundle going to be banned right off the bat. And I think if you're Nongshim, you got to try to get Jiu on some kind of comfort. He is in an 80 carry meta, but he's not playing very well, just straight up. So he needs to play well. He needs comfort. He needs to have some kind of chance to help his team and carry them across the line.
I'd love to see Jiu just lean into his own strengths, like play something like a Neela draft with dive, or just do the exact opposite and play Smolder or Zeri, any sort of super late game carry that he's been very good at. Even the Yunara would make a lot of sense for him. With Wukong not being banned on blue side, doesn't mean that final ban will be the Yunara here on red side. Leaves the Wukong up, and Nongshim will take it over the Taliyah. The Taliyah banned on blue side here. In fact, I didn't see that, so that's why they will definitely take it over Taliyah. And now we'll see what the response is going to be here for the side of KT Rolster. There's no Trundle. We might just Xinjiao tier list.
Rise Xinjiao.
Yeah, I think you're on the same page as me.
It's just kind of been the response. I'm not really sure why, because whenever we see this, it doesn't win, you know? But a lot of teams are saying, okay, this is the way to deal with Wukong. But
also, if I'm Nongshim here, I feel pretty confident. Orianna is an easy snap lock here, but you could also even grab Gwen. Even with the Aurora open, it's perfect in the top side. Is he going to be the kind of player who could really put the punish on King in? I would be a doubter on that one, but he's just going to snap up his Rumble, which has been his best pick throughout his entire time here at the LCK.
The Nautilus is a very interesting pick. I feel like there are a lot of different supports you could have gone for. One we mention all the time is the Rakan with the Wukong. You also didn't have to pick support here. You could have gone for the top lane, as you were saying, Wolf. And both sides are not going to pick their top laners. We're actually going to have Sivir picked out here because they want to have something that can deal with the Nautilus in the bottom lane, and Sivir will be that for Duckdom.
I think that one of the strongest pairings for the Sivir is the Ryze because of the wave clear that she gives you in the mid lane and how much Ryze kind of impact the map in a safe way when you have that extra prio in mid. Kai'Sa ban does make sense. Braum is a little bit puzzling. I didn't expect that to come out here for KT Rolster at all. Almost makes you feel like they're angling for a Ornn pick or something like that here. Pretty strange. Yeah,
just more hard engage. I think that Nautilus can also suffer a lot into the Braum, but it feels very kind of one-dimensional, you know? And Sivir Braum isn't a very common lane, but still, they're going to have that on their mind and ban it away.
The kind of unique Senna ban here coming out from KT Rolster, leaning into a similar idea to what I was talking about before with scaling for Jiu. You have a great front line, you have Nautilus as well, which makes it tough to dive. So I think this is quite a unique ban from KT, but given the scenario and the picks that Nongshim have already, it does make sense. It's a pretty safe angle for a Senna. Nico gets taken away. That makes way more sense to me than the Braum that we did see initially banned. Alistar is open for Peter, and I feel like he might just take it.
Yep. This one feels very obvious. And it's Peter, it's Alistar on R4. It's with the Sivir, it's into a lot of engage.
It's not really a Rakan draft, you know?
Yeah.
So that was the only other one that you could really consider, I think, in this scenario. Now Perfect gets counterpicked, so that feels really good, and we'll see what the 80 carry pick here for Jiu is going to be as well. The Aphelios has a great front line, similar idea to the Senna. I think this is smart, but it's not as good with Nautilus in terms of safety. Can be pretty good in the laning phase, and that Rumble that was left open is going to be taken here.
I mean, Aurora is right there. You could just snap it up. It maybe doesn't do very well into the comp, and they want a front line for the Sivir and the Ryze, so they're going to go for the Ornn instead. So that counter pick kind of feels like, yeah, the Ornn does well into the Rumble, but at the same time, could have maybe punished the top lane a little bit harder. But as you were mentioning before, Perfect doesn't really have a lot of confidence nowadays, so maybe just wants to go for the safe pick.
I think that normally I would be much more into the Aurora pick here, but like you and I were you alluded to what I said earlier, and you agree, like maybe he's not going to be able to punish as hard on the Aurora pick.
Yeah.
Aurora is really good with Ryze as well. When you already have this Sivir for wave clear, you can really control side lanes. But in terms of dealing with Rumble, it's really good, and it's hard to pick a good engaged target here on the side of Nongshim RedForce. It's going to be really hard to get to the Sivir And the Aphelios can also be engaged on from so far away by the Ornn, who is going to bolster the scaling elements of this Sivir draft. I feel like the drafts are relatively even, but for me, I think the Rise is the big X factor. Even though it's kind of one of those picks where like, oh, it's always just the Xin Zhao, and Agumon's taking a bite out of that Nuggery.
Terrifying.
That's really scary.
What happened to Agumon,
Yeah,
man?
like his arms and legs are really small, but I'm going to give a slight edge here to the draft of KT. I think Nongshim have some tools here, but it's going to be hard to close the gap and get to that back line.
Yeah, I mean, at least their comp has a theme, right? Which is what you want to see in game number 1. They have an idea. We're going forward. We'll see if they can put it together here in game number 1.
소환사의 학교가 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Game number 1 begins now of Saturday's showdown between Nongshim and KT. And my eyes are just on Jiu.
Yeah.
I just want this guy to come back to form because we know what his top form looks like, and we just haven't seen it in a while.
Difficulty on execution for Aphelios is high. He took the Ghost in this game, which I think gives, it makes a lot of sense. There's not much to cleanse, and I don't think you're going to be barriering in the 2v2 matchup. So it's a cool little tech there. It's going to give him a little bit more mobility, but also the ability to chase down and carry team fights if the fight is won by a really good Wukong engage, or the equalizer gets everybody low, and then Jiu just needs to close that gap. He's going to love having that Ghost Summoner. BD getting a little bit of a health advantage here on Calyx. Observers are highlighting. Aphelios is back, man, a little bit, and I'm excited for it because I think that the meta does put us in a place where you have so much frontline and so much hard engage that it's hard to, if you have like a Wukong, for example, in your comp, you feel pretty good about getting Aphelios to where he needs to be to do that damage later on in the game. And in lane, into an Alistar, also, Calibrum here, level 1, going to be kind of annoying and kind of harass a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more, possibly Jiu. No, just going to hit those autos on the minions. There we go. There's one more.
He did it. Yeah, it does feel like with this Alistar, you're kind of just sitting back and losing level 2. It is what it is. Note that Lahens has gone for Aftershock. He says, if I'm going in and I want to try to survive here. He's not going to have the Unsealed Spellbook, which we do see even sometimes on Nautilus. That was the one champ where I'm like, I feel like maybe you just want to go Aftershock.
Yeah. Alistar has his ult, so it's a little bit safer to go Unsealed. Obviously going to be problematic in trades in lane, because it's really important, especially with the nerf to the armor we talked a lot about. Yeah, Wukong, he's got some W's in the columns.
He's 11-3 on this patch alone. And Xin Zhao on this patch, 6-game losing streak, 6-8. And even just overall here in rounds 3 through 5 so far, Wukong still sitting at 23-8. And so,
yeah,
very
also
much winning a lot.
Pre-MSI, Wukong was not played in a single game. He's been a second half of the season champ.
That's insane.
And he's just suddenly taken over the whole LCK. Like we saw Pantheon with a really high win rate and was really highly prioed in the first half of the year. Now he's just permabanned and he's just not allowed.
Yeah.
And because that exists and Azir is so strong right now, Wukong just gets through all the time. And if Wukong if Wukong is banned, then you have to ban the Yunara, and so that's kind of where we've seen our drafts go a lot of the time. Varus, also one of those picks that's basically permaban. I think that's part of why we're seeing picks like Aphelios come back. Usually not in game 1, but later in the draft. So
yeah,
I think it does make sense in this draft here for Jiu, and like you said, all our eyes are on him because he needs to have a phenomenal performance. The draft is really about him when it comes to the late game.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to do a lot of the damage. At least they do have pieces of the puzzle that are going to be pushing forward and making things happen in front of him. Always feels good as Aphelios. And yeah, I mean, the drafting is pretty interesting now because we added Yunara to the bunch and we weren't sure where she was going to land. But now that everybody's like, well, she's Omega cracked. It's just like another red side permaban. And so red side kind of gets screwed over even more. You just have to ban Pantheon, Azir, and Yunara unless the enemy leaves up Varus and doesn't ban Varus, and then maybe you can trade Yunara for Varus and we've seen that a little bit, which gets interesting. But
it's funny how like the fact that if you leave it up and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll let them have Yunara. They'll just take Wukong because Wukong's really good into Yunara. And then you're like, oh, I have Yunara on red side, but they have Wukong. That's kind of a problem. So that's kind of been the best answer to Yunara as well so far.
Yeah.
And so blue side just gets the Wukong almost every time. And we see this insane win rate for Wukong continue.
Yeah. Winning on a lot of different teams and has that nice win streak. Not a whole lot of action here at the beginning of the game, although there's the root, and now we do have the spell shield to come out. That is why we picked the Sivir into the Nautilus. DuckDom feeling very good about this matchup so far. The slow's coming out here from Jiu, but the tempo barrier going to feel pretty good for the side of DuckDom as they do win the trade very slightly here. It's not like Sivir and Alistar have a huge amount of kill pressure, but still going to be feeling good about that trade.
Pretty good outplay there from DuckDom. Saves his barrier until the continued trade there from Jiu. Knowing that Jiu doesn't have barrier, he'll be able to get that tempo back from it. Spell shield's late. Gets Gravitum, is okay with that because he knows that he's going to be able to stay off the pressure there. It's really the follow-up that's the scary part. He spell shields that and gets out. So down his barrier, but I think very happy with how that did eventuate. Small CS lead. Both bottom laners going for a cull purchase. Jiu opting for the refillable potion, not having that second longsword is going to hurt him a little bit. Just a little bit of support action here in the mid lane. We had them 1v1 for a second as their AD carries back to buy cull, and then now they're just kind of like, all right, well, popping over to mid real quick. Jiu does come with him, and is staying, in fact, for a little while here. They sent the Orianna top. We saw some of these lane swaps in Kespa Cup, actually, back at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Some
like
of our
ages
non-Korean
ago.
teams were running this. I think the Chinese Taipei team was running this, and it was pretty strong, actually, especially against a pick like Ryze. And you get a little bit of tempo there, and then you can go to the top lane. Yeah, I think it's just based on the lane state there. It's not like a strategy to have this timing, send your Aphelios up, but he has Christian. Now he's got red-white heading to top side to poke at this Ornn. Perfect does have TP, though. He's just going to head bottom side. It's a small tempo advantage here for Nongshim, but I don't think it'll amount to too much.
Yeah, it's just a little thing early on. No Drake take just yet early on in this game. We do have the Grubs coming up here in just a bit. You see some pings going in onto that. So we got a little zoom in there.
Calyx trying to deny any farm from BDD after he took that back. That he can.
We saw Kingen doing it in bot. We saw Calyx doing it in mid. It's now a nice trade here going the way of Kingen, and he just overheats and says, I've done my job here. Just going to back away. No reason to overextend.
Saw Lehen's kind of freezing the wave up there on the top side as well, but not able to crash, obviously, and not able to freeze it away from DuckDom. But with red-white here, nice time to fight. And Jiu got his ghost back. DuckDom will have his barrier in just a moment. If they get a hook onto Peter as an angle.
Yeah, always going to be a nice chunk. I mean, really committing to this one with the ult even there, as having the level advantage just means that Peter, he's not able to do anything. He just takes a whole bunch of damage. He does have TP, though, and he just hit level 6 on that wave. So Peter actually could get back here for the play, and that's what he will do. As we have fights in mid, we've got...
He's going to TP to the Grubs, actually.
Yeah.
And this is where the Prio could actually really stack up. Your Jiu does have his ultimate as well. And this is a tough fight here for the side of KT Rolster. They still have a lot of Prio. Perfect does not have TP, of course. And, the Rumbles are already rotated up a little bit. Just Nongshim having way more advantage to set up for this. And they've got the first grub already. Gideon does not have Smite, though, so they're going to have to actually stay with him here to secure. And I think they should be able to at least get 2.
Yeah, they get the 2. The handshake comes through. It says, okay, you
Calyx,
get 2, we get 1.
Calyx also dropped his ult on BDD to keep him down, make sure he cannot actually rotate over. He did have his Realm Warp, but it's hard to actually use that when the face of an Orianna who has ult, so he just denies him from entering the fight, puts him down at half health. I mean, look, Calyx doesn't have his ult right now, couldn't use it for the fight. It's low on mana, but it doesn't matter. If BDD can't show up, he's done his job.
Yeah, just getting them a very, very slight advantage. The extra grub, not going to be the end of the world, especially when you've got Orianna Rumble, who definitely just won a team fight, and they're not really going to be pushing side lanes. It's like, well, we got these. We denied it from the Ryze. So that's nice, and that's about it. So, again, still very even in this game. The gold's pretty much exactly even. Got a Nautilus hovering around mid, 4 seconds away from his ult is Lehens.
The one thing I'll say about this small lead that Nongshim picked up, in terms of gold, they have a slight deficit, in fact, but in terms of the grub pickups and how they've been playing the map, I would like to say they're pretty ahead. It felt like they had a big plan here. Lehens does have his ult back. Trying to ult this Ornn, though, under turret is going to be pretty tricky to pull off. I don't think they're going to commit, but Nongshim have looked like a team that comes in with this draft super prepared. Like, everything they've done has been very methodical. Every decision they've made on the map has been very strong. Like, the tempo swap to mid to then get the advantage top side. All of these things have been pretty impressive here for Nongshim in this early game, whereas KT have just kind of sitting back, shivering a little bit. You know, ornaments eventually will be relevant. They don't need to be the ones who make the aggressive plays early. Duckdom's not going to enjoy this.
Yeah, trying to take a trade here. Is it a bait, though? King in a lot of trouble. 3 guys show up. He drops an equalizer and says, well, I'm dead. Doesn't even bother to flash. He's like, yeah, I overextended. You got me. And a very nice set play here from the side of KT.
Yeah, I mean, they maybe will get a plate in return here in mid. We'll have to see in the replay. I'm not entirely sure the angle that BDD took and how he walked over there, because there was control vision in the river. Calyx could have tried to follow BDD and deny, and Lehens was also on the rotation. In fact, I think he may stop BDD's back right now, and they may look for something. Looks like he's just not quite able to do so. We'll get 2 plates on the return, so it's not the end of the world here for Nongshim, but puzzling that BDD was able to just get away with that.
Yeah.
Wait and see exactly how that eventuated.
Cuz just going in. Feels confident against 2. Nice buffer there on the hook. We do have Peter now on the way. He's got his flash. Looks like KT Hardcore want to go into this fight as the flash knockup comes in. BDD is here as well. The Cyclone just to try to get away from them. And you can see that the second one with the clone right there in the choke is going to be enough to get them away. So KT kind of desperately trying to get something back there.
Yeah, that's all just based on the fact that Lehens was like, well, I couldn't quite get that kill on a BDD. We want to force something. Speaking of Lehens.
Yeah, I don't really know why he's still here. He is going to flash. And I suppose just trying to keep his Rumble alive, but now he's in a bit of trouble. He's able to hook onto the wall, but the knockup comes in from the Alistair. Flash away by Kingen. He's trying to turn this fight around as he says, I'm not able to get out of here. Lehens nearly dies. He will die here very shortly, as really the question is who gets the kill. And it will be the Sivir after all, so pretty huge that Duckdom able to pick up 2 kills.
At least Calyx is able to realize this is never going to be a play he can salvage. He can't rotate down. He gets more plates in mid. A plate's going to go over to Gio as well as laning into Perfect. But at the end of the day, it's still a huge win here for KT. Nongshim, though, I mean, they are trading really well on the cross map. Like, both their Orianna and Aphelios are getting serious value. Imagine if that flash from Kingen actually has his Flame Spitter angled correctly, you know, towards the enemy team. It's tough in that moment to make sure your Q's pointed the right way as you flash away there. It's, like, actually really, really hard. He is angled towards the left side, doesn't get that extra damage. That's kind of the difference maker there. So we'll watch that again in the replay surely at some point, as this game has been very action-packed. Kanik Rookerin is put together for Perfect, which will help him against a Rumble, but he's still leaning into Aphelios for now. And KT 3 kills up with all the plates that Nongshim have picked up. Still a relatively even game. So we'll see which one we jump into first. Okay, so we're going to go back down to what just happened here. Lehens plays this so well, by the way. Flashes, then gets the knockup here through Cuz. So Peter also gets pushed away, then has the buffered hook here. And then Kingen really wants to try to save this. Flashes, but his Flame Spear is angled to the left side there because he's trying to obviously get away and get to the turret. Does not do enough damage back. Lehens eventually dies. Gives over to Duckdom. Frustrating in this scenario, but it all starts off with Lehens sticking around so long to try to continue to get value off of the fact that he was trying to stop BDD. What else can I get with the river control we have?
Yeah. That's a couple of plays in a row as well where BDD's making plays on the rise. He's getting his team into position. He's being proactive. And, you know, to be honest, if this were solo queue and Calyx is just sitting mid getting 4 plates, your bottom lane would quit the game. They would be like, okay, this is over. You're not helping us. You're just playing for yourself. But I understand because you're playing Orianna into Rise and it's like, can I get there on time? Probably not. Like, maybe he could have started moving down anyway. Like, yes, he did get fed, but also his I said bottom lane, but like the guys that were in the bottom lane, Kingen and Lehens, are just getting kind of massacred, and they're feeding the Sivir as well. They get the first Hextech Drake here on top of it. So yeah, like the gold numbers are pretty even, but at the same time, I would heavily favor KT at this point.
Look at what happens when you get just a little bit of a moment in the mid lane as Sivir where the enemy AD carry isn't there as well. Just crash that wave in. Wave clear is insane on this pick. No static shiv needed to perma have shove. And so Duck Thomas getting some value out of that. I do agree that, you know, the way that this game has gone here has really hurt the chances of Kingen really being relevant the way he wants to be in this mid game. Already, obviously, having that Ornn as a counter, right, to the Rumble as a counter pick, but they put Gio against the Ornn. They've avoided that element of the game to a certain extent, but just Realm Warps avoiding some of the vision and river control Nongshim thought they had. The only way Calyx can stop that is to just stop him from getting into a Realm Warp, right? But they're getting a lot back. Like these trades, you know, they got so many plates mid. They're going to be able to get this turret bottom here as well. It's first turret for Nongshim as well. That's big. You know, I mean, that's what's keeping the gold in their favor despite these picks going against them. They're going to commit here as well.
They're going to heal up the minions with the Redemption as in comes Perfect, just trying to clear the wave. And yeah, he's like, well, I should not have done that. I am going to try to just flash away and survive. So inner turret goes over to Nongshim. BDD get the one in top. But here's the Rift Herald going into mid. So KT get a mid outer, which feels very good for their side. BDD not really in threat here against a Rumble. Can just Realm Warp away very easily. And we get a second threat charge, yeah.
That's pretty good for KT. Nico? No, it's just a lone minion that with a Realm Warp. No, actually, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, he got Realm Warped away. And then he was like, I'm going back.
Yeah, okay.
I have.
Well, in my head, I was like, did the minion get Realm Warped to this location? And the answer is no. But yeah, he was. Yeah, he was Realm Warped away.
Poor minions, man. Like he got saved, and then he just decided, you know what? Actually, never mind.
My purpose is to be in the top lane.
I must push. It's actually kind of sad when you think about it. Oh, well, that's Lehenz's fault. It's not going to matter as they're getting another turret. At least Nongshim, I like how they're kind of roaming around the map as 4, and they're getting a bunch of value.
It's just a really good macro game from them. Despite the fact that the enemy team is the team that has the Sivir Rise, they're kind of running circles around KT. Sure, it's a lot of resources committed every time. 4 members bottom, 4 members top. But, you know, the Rise alone isn't going to be able to take these turrets down as quickly. If we were talking about plate trades, you'd be like, well, I mean, BDD's getting solo plates over here, but plates have fallen. He will eventually get this turret in exchange, but they're keeping this game really even. The Aphelios is starting to come online. Obviously, both AD carriers finished their call, and Aphelios is significantly behind in gold, but, you know, if they just slow this game down and he doesn't get put down any further, we'll hit that 2-item spike. Will be relevant later, and the fact that they don't have an inner turret doesn't necessarily matter as much into KT's comp. Because it matters a little bit for Lehenz here.
Good call from Lehenz. We have seen that sometimes he kind of takes the barrel route where he's like, I'm just going to run in and dime the tank. I just see what's happening over here, and dies a bunch, but only dying once, and he's Nautilus. So far. So very much having a measured game this time around is Lehenz.
Doesn't look like Gio is going to be able to complete that second item before this dragon. And, you know, he had red-white. Like, gun management is so important on Aphelios. If you have that fully ammoed up for this dragon fight, you feel really good. If you have 2 items too, but he's just not quite there. And has used a lot of that red-white ammo to clear this wave, so not going to be the powerhouse he could be for this potential dragon fight. And 30 seconds till it spawns. Control of the pit is also KT's, and part of that's from the Sivir and the outer turret take. There is a lot of inherent value in that. And, you know, you can see it with the group up there. If Lehenz face checks or just walks in, he dies, and it gets even worse. As you can see, Gio is on the last ends of this Severum ammo. A bit of a Rumble versus Ornn.
Yeah, they're going to try to chase this with the Wukong on the way. Perfect does not have his flash, and that's what they're calling for. He tries to dash away, but this is way too much damage, especially because he doesn't have all that much armor, so the Wukong also just shreds. Meanwhile, Calyx trying to survive down here. We got a TP trying to help out. That's from the Alistair. Nice dodge from Calyx, and even in a redemption. Maybe looking to turn this one around as the fight is getting close. But BDD just says, nope, I'm getting out. It's a Chemtech Soul. And so those first couple Drakes, the double dragon, going the way of KT.
Yeah.
It's not going to amount to all too much. I mean, there's still definitely some value out of the Chemtech Soul.
Well, I like
for like Rai, Xinjiao, Ornn.
I like how Nongshim played this because they're like, well, we can't get Dragon. We don't have inner turret. They have the Sivir push. We'll just make a play topside on the flashless Ornn, and all they have to do, all Calyx has to do is not die on the cross map. He's able to speed himself up and get out of there. Doesn't even have to flash, so he survives. They catch the wave there, and yes, there are waves pushing into inner turrets and mid and bottom, but they get a kill topside. They're able to get so much damage done onto that inner in the top side as well. And what they get in return, what KT gets in return is just a second dragon. A double dragon is great if it's a great soul. RNG not working in their favor there. But I think even if it was, like, the best play for Nongshim was just to opt out and try to get something else on the top side of the map. They're successful in that. They get the whole inner top side, still maintain a gold lead in this game. Pretty, I don't know how, they can't do this forever, but I feel like they've continued to keep this game so even that one team fight could really be what decides who gets a lead more than everything that's happened in the first 20 minutes in this game. It's kind of wild. He's got 2 items now. The LDR is done for Jiu.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to need it for that Ornn. We get a big zoom in on Otacon because I think it's been a point of contention for a lot of our teams. And will they start it?
I really strongly feel that neither team needs to start Otacon, and there's no purpose to start Otacon in this moment, for sure. There's certainly been some great Otacon starts that were poorly executed.
I feel like KT is more in a position to do so, but their turn is not that strong. Like, it's good with the Ornn and the Alistar, but they're not far enough ahead to start Otacon and be able to turn.
And they don't need to start Otacon desperately to try to... It's not like they're behind or like, aha, we're going to start Otacon, look for a cool turn and try to catch you guys off guard, or maybe if you don't come fast enough, we just get it for free, because their comp also scales incredibly well. It's a dead even game.
Yeah.
There's just no reason to hard force that. Instead, just put BDD in the side lane and force Nongshim to come to you, as they are coming to him, but he's just going to be able to TP out.
Yeah, I think if anyone starts the Otacon, it should be Nongshim. But again, they don't even need to either, as now we get the engage coming on in. That's a Wukong a bit caught out of position. Gideon by himself, just burning down as a bit of damage comes in, a bit of AoE, but they have Redemption, which seems to be the item of choice. Very nice knock up here from Perfect, though. They're looking for a bit more. The Realm Warp gets the Alistar in. The flash is perfect from Peter. Gets on top of 2 of them, and KT, they set up the fight. Nongshim getting caught out in the river.
Yeah, Gio trying to look for the ult there, trying to maximize damage, pops the Ghost. I mean, those are the types of moments where you start to feel like, oh, as a failure, so okay, this may be my time. Maybe I can actually clean up this fight. But they lost their jungler early. The Cyclone down for Gideon. And this was actually a really cool trap for KT, where they kind of play a little ping pong, they play a little tennis, as Kingen may also, for greeting for this wave, be punished. Looks like it's not going to happen. But they went for the play for pushing BDD bottom side. Then he knows, okay, they're rotating down. He realm warps over the top of them, gets away, or sorry, TPs over the top of them, gets away, and then they can collapse on the jungler who was then trying to catch BDD. They're just kind of running circles around Nongshim in this moment. As we kind of skip over that part, this is after BDD's teleport, but the reason why Gideon was here is because he was trying to actually punish BDD's side laning, and now he's isolated himself on a flank that he didn't intend to be a flank. It's just a really cool rotation here for KT. And then this play here to get Peter on top of the AD carry is just another BDD moment. You know, you set up the TP play to trap Gideon there, then Realm Warps on top of the AD carry for his Alistar.
Yeah.
And Gio is just not having a game. He wants to have a game. He's like, I'm sitting on 2 items, I got my LDR, I want to fight.
He doesn't get to play the game. Not yet, apparently. And yeah, it does feel like BDD, he's 0-0-4, but he's pulling all the strings, you know? Like, he is the one side laning. It's everything you said. Like, he's setting up the plays in the team fights. It just feels like he's kind of on a different mental level above all of the players on the Rift right now.
He's the puppet master for sure.
He really is. Even for his team, you know, when he plays Rise, he's able to do that. He's like, I'm going to set this up, and you're going to go into it, okay? Like, you don't have a choice, as he has the completed row out, which means that, of course, he'll be a level ahead, but he's also got an extra level plus a bit more on Calyx. So BDD very far ahead here. Little engaged. Lehens, I said earlier that he was playing very measured. I think a little bit of that went out the window after the last fight, as he gets caught out for basically no reason here. As now Calyx trying to clear the wave, he's going to get caught for free. And now a play into the back line as Jiu does survive, but it really does feel like Nongshim are not taking KT seriously, and they're getting caught out here in this mid game.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe some extra pressure on this inhibitor turret from Kingen, I suppose. He's not going to be able to take it down, obviously, but can crash a wave there. BDD will have to back to respawn. it was funny because so much of this game for me was like, wow, you know, every Legend group game is one-sided, except like the games we had yesterday with T1 and Hanwha. Sure, and a one-sided ending, so to speak, but
yeah,
he's seen on these words, by the way. But like, I was like, wow, yeah, Nongshim are just like, they're losing a little bit, but they're trading on turrets. They're getting these plates. Like, they've kept this game even. It's not going to be a one-sided, and then one fight happens. Oh, never mind. It's a one-sided Legend game. Like, KT's got it. 7 kills to 2. Total control over the map. They had the inner turret already, and it just feels like Nongshim now can't get back in. It's not over, and there's still a soon-to-be IE holding GU in this game, but Lehens is dead again, I think. I fear.
Looks like it. I mean, it's so hard to get away from the Rise at this point in time. As nope, the slow comes in. Lehens, no, not the disengage cone, please. As yeah, he is going to get away with the disengage cone for now. Although Lehens does get his redemption, and yeah, he gets away because that cone was there, and his mistake is not punished.
Peter almost had his heal. Could have maybe chased there. Was swapping his spellbook. Quite get it in time. At the end of the day, Lehens gets away with it, and some extra side laning for Calyx does ensue. It's crazy that BDD is up 30 CS on him with how much it feels like Calyx is out side lane BDD. But BDD had spent so much time in the bottom lane, so much time in the top lane just now. He's just farming up a storm on this Rise. Has 3 items, has a completed Zhonya's on top of, you know, the fact that he grit Roa, Seraphs. He's utility Rise, but they have a Fed Sivir who has IE, so he doesn't need to do damage in this game. They don't need to cut through tanks with this Rise.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't matter.
He's just there to be utility Rise, set everybody up, and do a little bit of extra damage on top of it. He had the arm guard, but then he completed the Zhonya's. Felt like he could have sat on that, but not the case. This time wants to make sure he has it and doesn't miss a fight with it, especially if he's going to be trying to play make in some of these fights, which he has been. Trying to set up vision around the Baron now is KT. And
I want to see Gideon stop engaging and just sit on top of GU. Like, just be on top of GU. Let KT try to make those decisions, okay? GU, just let him get his IE and just sit on top of him and try to keep him alive, because I don't think you're going to win this game any other way. This is no longer a game you can win by Orianna Wukong Cyclone Shockwave combo. It's just not going to happen into KT's comp. Ductom is not going to be hit by that. They have way too much control. He has his upgraded IE, by the way. You don't even have yours yet, so probably don't look for a fight at all right now with your Wukong unless somebody makes a big mistake. Or just go in Lehens, yeah, sure.
just hook blindly into the bush.
He has no vision, like, at all.
I don't know if he, like, placed the ward and then he saw them for just a little bit, or if I kind of missed that part, but, like, yeah, that whole play, pretty interesting. I kind of get it, because if you don't have any vision at all, they're just going to get the Baron for free, so you do have to have someone go in, but at the same time, it's quite dangerous, especially when you're level 9 Nautilus. At least he took Aftershock, you know, I mentioned that before, so he's got a little bit of extra resistance.
It's so painful, Valdez, but I think you probably can't stop them from doing Baron in this case. Like, I just don't think you can, and you probably just have to go, well, I hope that...
Well, they have vision this time.
Yeah. Good luck, Nongshim. I was going to say, you might just have to defend Baron, but instead they're going to look for a fight here. And look at the setup here for KT, it's just so clean.
Yeah, I like this. They're going to look for the pick. They have so much damage out of the Sivir right now. It's insane. And essentially just a zoning ultimate going to keep them away. And they kept Cuz and BDD on this objective the entire time. Perfect is very tanky. They're going to try to do a bit of damage to him, but the Baron is going away. And Gideon's got to get in. He's got the flash, but he gets knocked away by Cuz. And he will not be getting into the pit at all. Perfect still alive until the end of the fight. GU. He's just desperate at this point, gets stunned up, does a bit of damage, has so many chakrams, doesn't matter, he's alone against everybody. And now the Realm Orb on top of it is Calyx. He's seeing nightmares, he's seeing the trauma from before. And at least, you know, he'll do a little bit of damage. But KT, a massive win in this fight.
The problem is not that Nongshim are not in a position items-wise to fight this. Like, the guns set up here for the Aphelios are also great. It's that you have to fight through this choke point. You have no vision. Actually, this is kind of a mistake from Perfect, by the way. He definitely should have held that and used it for the fight, because he doesn't have it. He actually becomes the target. Look, GU, IE done, does massive damage with red-white here. And because Ductom and BDD have to hold Baron to get the smite, they're actually not involved in this fight. This fight ends up being way closer than I think it had any right to be. But, you know, in this case as Nongshim, if you give up the Baron, you're probably going to lose the game. Like, they have a pushing Sivir and Ryze. But if you fight the Baron into this choke point, it's always going to be a losing scenario. They decide to go for the Baron, and it just ends up being them essentially getting routed there as they end up losing the Baron on top of it. KT, have Peter a bit overextended?
Yeah, he is going to have to pop that ult. And it's just Chemtexol on the board here. Gideon does have his flash, but Nongshim, they want to take the fight after the case. As now with Chemtexol, they're so tanky, but they are going to be able to take out BDD at least. As KT looking to try to take this one 4v5, and it looks like they should be able to. As Xiu just zoned away entirely by the Ornn, not able to chew through all this tankiness. And it's a triple for the Omega Fed Sivir that is Duckdom.
I think Nongshim are really going to be kicking themselves for some of the fights they took in the mid game. That trap from BDD that caught Gideon earlier on, that was such a disastrous moment for Nongshim. They lost so much control. You could see that Xiu clearly has mastery of the Aphelios, right? On 3 items, he's doing as much work as you realistically can in these scenarios, but he just doesn't, you know, he's fighting almost literally blind in some of these moments. As they look for the catch here onto Peter, Perfect is on this flank angle. It's really tough to actually make this work, and then Kingan's like, all right, I've got to try. They end up getting BDD on the edge of this fight, but now you're so deep. Look at where Xiu's positioned. He knows he can't go into the meat grinder, so he does no damage here. And unfortunately, you're an Orianna and a Rumble that are kind of combo-based in what they do in team fights. You don't have consistent damage, and they just kind of fall apart. And that, I think, is really the beginning of the end here. I mean, it was earlier, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, now there's just no fight. There's not even a moment.
Now it's like the end of the end,
yeah,
I think.
That's really what I mean. Like, I just don't think there's any way back now.
Yeah, and you said it before, right? It was like, oh, it's kind of close. You know, we have like a cool back and forth between Nongshim and KT, and then it's okay. It's just another one-sided Legend Group game. Might just be the case for this series if Nongshim can't turn it around. As the engage cone from the Sivir, as yeah, look at that damage. He's just so fed at this point. Like Lehens does not exist.
Yeah, he's almost full build. He's looking for a GA, I guess, as his final item. And I don't think he's going to get it because I think the game is going to end before then.
We don't have POG anymore, but who's POG?
I still vote for BDD.
BDD probably.
And obviously, like, you know, it's pretty known that BDD is my favorite player, but I think he actually...
Oh, no, the Realm Orb to find you.
It's BDD.
Yeah, it's just another one, you know, like the game is over right now, but it doesn't matter. It's like another box checked for the BDD column. Just now, nice little engage, and KT just looking to end this one. And using their gigantic wallets, their safes of cash that are in the bank, and just plopping them on the heads of Nongshim. That's going to be game number 1, going to KT very one-sidedly after about 20 minutes.
Team just looks so much more coordinated with Peter. Sure, they won it last time around, but it was also Peter on the roster.